Welcome to the Transforming Healthcare Coaching Podcast, where we're all about helping healthcare professionals like you create positive change at work, at home, and everywhere in between.
Hello, everybody, again for this week's episode on Transforming Healthcare Coaching. And we're going to piggyback up on goals and how we can continue to achieve these New Year's resolutions that we have. And so for today's episode, we'd like to talk about how we can achieve our goals at healthcare. And this is supposed to be very unique to healthcare professionals because we have our own unique challenges and many of us have our own unique goals that are just so specific to our profession. And today I'm joined by Grizelda Anguiano.
Oh,
So I'll go ahead and kickstart the conversation, Grizelda. And I'm wondering, how can our healthcare professionals develop a goal-setting process that kind of adapts to this ever-evolving career and kind of the growing responsibilities that we all have?
I think keeping in mind the goals that we set and with coaching where we say like, why is this important to you? And then in setting the SMART goals is like, is it actually in alignment? Is it actually reasonable with what you're going for? So I think it's as things are shifting in either in our careers or our positions, if we're changing, it's just making sure, like looking back, is that part of our vision? Do we need to realign? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to do something different? And just always checking in to see, am I okay with that? Because we are at choice and we can choose how we want to proceed.
I love that. And yeah, what is in your alignment? What is in your vision? And the ability to pivot. I think that is a very unique challenge that all healthcare professionals have to deal with. Somebody calls out sick, you have to oftentimes pick up the slack and get in. Your supervisor may ask you to do something that may be outside of your responsibilities, but then want the extra responsibilities and the more pay. So you take on these extra roles. You may be transitioning to different specialties or different hospitals, what may be. So it's important to remember the who within you and the why and what is that you actually want in life. I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, thinking back as a hospitalist, it was really tough when my daughter wouldn't sleep well. And we had a nanny at home, but it was just like, she said, I can't let her cry. You pay me to take care of her. And I'm like, yes, but as soon as I walk in, she's awake and I can't sleep. And I had to make a kind of a pretty quick pivot. And I went into private practice because I said, well, that way I can at least be home at reasonable hours and I could do that part. But I was still able to decide. I could say, no, nanny, do this or hire someone else. But I chose to participate even deeper with my family and try to be part of that because I didn't want to look back and say that it was all about work and not the family. And now looking back, it was a great decision that I did. It also helped me to connect with my own family and be there, but also led me to kind of see another side of medicine and in private practice and how all that worked and how I can serve that population.
I love that. When I first started off, we did a lot of training with students, a lot of PA students. And as time went on, I got the opportunity to be a lead preceptor for our students at the urgent care. And initially, it was resistance. I was like, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I need the extra responsibility. I just want to come in, practice medicine, go home and forget about work and just live the life that I want. But I did have a deeper purpose. I think we all do, that we want to help people in the best ways possible and whatnot. And so this transition and adding on this role, actually, when I reflect back to it, because I obviously took it, there's been some great things with it. And I feel that it met a deeper purpose within my overall vision of how I want to contribute to healthcare. So the ability to adapt and say, well, can this role help me with my overall vision of myself, and whether that be healthcare, my personal life, whatever it may be, that's all another way to think about it when you maybe be like, this doesn't seem like I want the extra work right now. As coaches, oftentimes we tell people to say no, and so get your boundaries going. But sometimes it's like this opportunity doesn't always come. Is it something that aligns with you? And yeah, can it serve you in the right way?
And sometimes people are looking at things from that different perspective that it's like, hey, Klaus, I know you can go bigger than you are right now, right? So stop playing comfortable. Let's stretch you a little bit. And so that's always scary, right? When we're doing something new. But I mean, I have a question for you, Klaus. I mean, how, especially when we get into these to be called in to do different things, how do we ensure that those kind of our personal developmental goals are actually in alignment with what the organization is calling us to do?
Very interesting one. And I think as many healthcare professionals, it's hard to feel aligned with organizations. I think you see it social media everywhere, right? Everyone's always complaining about how organizations are not there for their employees, right? I think what would be effective is actually to revisit what are your organization goals. To be honest with you, I get the weekly emails and I hear from my supervisors during meetings, but I really don't know what our organization's missions and values are. Because oftentimes I think we all think these are all shared goals and objectives, right? So I think the first thing is to specifically ask, what are your goals with this objective that you have for me or this goal you have for me? And see if it is aligned based off of that. Is it just like a checkbox that they just need to check off and you don't need to be putting the work that you initially planned to do for it?
Yeah. And I think what's coming up for me is their why, right? Like if it's something that I'm assuming you just want me to work more and I'm assuming you just want more for me. And yes, if it's to the way you say, check off that box, but can we stop and just the way you're saying, ask, right? And ask, and there might be a greater purpose. Like, yes, there may be some metrics, there may have been some complaints. And so just like we're looking for our purpose, they have a purpose too. And sometimes not that we're always going to agree with it or really want to comply, but I think it makes it a little easier before we make that choice. Do I want to choose to rebel and not go along, or do I want to choose like, oh, they're doing this for patient safety? I can see it from that perspective and do it for the patients, but still making sure that it aligns with what we're okay with, right? Are we still being authentic? Are we still keeping the patient at center? Like, is this really worth it kind of thing?
I really like that because we in healthcare, many of us, I think can relate but we like to say kind of catabolic. We're very destructive in our energy. The negative work talk affects us all. Many of us contribute to that talk and it adds more fuel to the fire. And I'm guilty of it. This is why I have a coach. This is why we all kind of preach what we preach and here talking with you guys. And it's really taking that step and saying, I need to stop here before I say something without thinking, right? And then see it from a greater viewpoint because it's so quick when you're feeling down, you're feeling very negative, you're feeling like there's no other way to get out of burnout, get out of the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the multiple responsibilities that you're handling, to answer authentically because many people are very quick to respond very upset or respond in a way that is not really authentic. And you may regret that. And you have more power when you talk from a way that is more thought out, more professional, and more research based, more backed up. So take that time to really think about what you want to say and ask those questions, like you said, right? We're at choice, and let's choose to get some more information.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I frequently think and say that it's, I wish I would have been exposed to coaching early in my training or even just in life period, right? To be able to say like, oh, I am at choice and I get to just consider the opportunity in every situation. But it's so easy. It's so easy when we're taking call or we have that one more patient added on to the schedule. And especially in private practice, sometimes if it was a mental health or teenager with abdominal pain or something that was like scheduled right the end of the morning or the end of the afternoon, and you knew like, okay, now I'm not going to be able to charter, I'm not going to be able to eat. But looking at it in a different way to say, well, it was going to cause less disruption for the whole if I put it at the end of the morning than in the middle of the morning. And these mental health now, no, I know even more about that, right? But these patients really did need me. And because I wasn't rushing to get to that next patient because there was no one else waiting, I was able to be there, be present, and really do what I needed to do. And so it's a lot easier to look back now, of course, but
You make an excellent point too, and I'm curious, Griselda. Healthcare professionals are notorious for saying, "I'm fine." Like they have a medical issue, they're gonna push it away because they'll talk to their colleagues. They'll be, "Oh yeah, you're fine. It's nothing wrong. I'm guilty of it myself." And the cycle continues, right? And then you don't actually do the self care, you don't do the reflection, you don't do like the personal development that we advocate for so much. So, what does it take for a healthcare professional to say, "Oh my gosh, I need help. I don't care about the bias that shouldn't be there, but with mental health and personal development, like at what point can a healthcare professional say, "Hey, I need help"?
yeah. I mean, I think just with the everyday stuff that I do, especially with mental health, sometimes that's the frustrating part. Like, why do we wait till it's a crisis? Right. And then we want this magic pill or this magic solution, but it's tough if you don't know. Right. And if you don't know what the other side could be, or if you feel like, well, this is just the way it is, this is a way everyone's feeling the same way. So what's the difference? But I think it's when we start to feel that something doesn't feel right. We know that, we feel that. Then it's just to say why. Why am I not happy with them adding on another shift? Well, then we can stop and think. I'm not happy with it because I wouldn't go and add another shift to someone else. But am I getting this extra shift because someone has flu and is really sick and they can't come in? Like, okay, might that happen to me someday? Yeah, right. Or kind of say, I can take that, but can I swap with another? So I think it's just when there's that feeling of can it be better or it has to be able to be better. And that doesn't mean that we have to completely shift to a different career or different hospital or different office. It's just, can I approach things a little bit differently? I was reading something this morning and it was talking about how coaching is so different in that the stigma isn't there as much than if you're saying, oh, I'm going to go see my psychiatrist or I'm going to go see my therapist. And it's also, there's no hierarchy, right? And we're here together. We can talk about whatever you want, plan whatever you want. And I really like that spin to it in that we are a partnership and we're not above you. It's like, let's work on whatever you want to work on. And I think just reaching out to say like, hey, this doesn't feel right. What else can I do? And it doesn't have to be, like I said, a huge change, but it's just a different perspective.
I love that. And that's what our clients say. You're a physician, I'm a PA. Teamy, we work with nurses and other healthcare team members, and it never feels like, oh, I'm with a PA. He's telling me what to do, or me if I get coached by you all the time, right? I don't ever feel like it's, oh, you're a physician. Just because you're a physician, your title is what's influencing me, right? It's you're a human, and our clients are humans, and that's how we guide people is based off humanity. And I love that aspect. And to add on to all that is that, and I think it lines pretty well with this talk today about achieving goals, is that like I knew I had goals. I just didn't even know where to start. And I think you're right. You don't have to be rock bottom to say, oh my gosh, I need change. And it's that feeling like, where do I start? And being okay to say, maybe I could partner with somebody to help me or seek services or just express interest, I think is the first thing. I think that is a very useful tool, is to follow your intuition a little bit.
Yeah. And I think as we get into okay, we know we're going to be in school and then we say, okay, I want to be a PA or whatever we're going to do. And so we just follow that plan, right? So it's how many years, how many classes, how many hours, what's the residency and all these different parts. And then we're in our job and it's like, wait, what? Like, it's not scripted. Like, it's not a certain way. We get to where we wanted to get. And then it's like, wait, what? What do I do now? Where's the next syllabus? Where's the next, what's it called when you're like the advisor for your programs and all? Yeah.
I know. I felt like when I became a healthcare professional, like in school, they're monitoring you, right? They're all on top of you, and like they're making sure that you're passing and you're doing all these things. That I became a PA, then all of a sudden I was like, nobody's monitoring me. I want a hand to hold me sometimes and just be like, hey, like this is the next thing you should do or whatever. But there really, I don't think is anything like that out there for healthcare professionals, unless you have like a direct mentor that you work with constantly, right? So I always find what we do to be very like a reflection to our past in a way that I think helped all of us thrive and become where we are today. So, Grizelda, as we finish this episode, I'm curious for those that are in the goal achieving process for the new year's, feeling a little lost, what kind of recommendations do you have? Because now we're in late January and we are stuck in the goal achieving process and we're not doing the things that we want to do. What can we do now?
Yeah. The word while you were asking the question that kept popping in my mind was dream. And it seems like just for setting goals, but the word dream came up for me. And I think it's what do you want to dream of? And because sometimes it really can be possible. I mean, it's maybe not flying unicorns or something, right? But it's like, what do you want to dream of? What would be the ideal day for you? What are you going to come in? How are you going to approach the day? And then I think, of course, with your coach, but even just like start looking at it, right? So is it one realistic? But then start to say, well, can I do a spin off of that? If I said, oh, I just want to go to an office at the beach, but it's like, well, can you work somewhere near a beach that you would be able to access it? Or so then bringing it down to be realistic, but then always checking in with our values. And just because of who we are and our upbringing and all of you said earlier, the catabolic and all of the stress we've been through, we can use that to catapult where we want to be. We can use that to say, I don't want to keep feeling this. And there is something better. There can be a different way.
I think we need to have a values talk is what I'm hearing from all this. And I agree with that. And I would piggyback on people to revisit our SMART goal talk. And I would say and this is something we do with coaches and our clients all the time, right? Oftentimes you'll finish a session with us and we'll leave with some kind of goal, a baby step towards that overarching goal that you have. And you'll come to us next week and say, oh, Klaus, I wasn't able to do it. And it's like, well, that's fine. It's understandable. What happened? What can we do now? And that is revisiting the SMART goal, right? Was it specific? Was it measurable? Was it achievable? Was it a bigger goal than you thought you could digest? And was the biggest thing, was it realistic? Is it what you want? Does it align with your values? Does it align with who you are? And was it time oriented? Was it time specific enough for you? So these are things that require revisiting. And so for those who are maybe lost here, that's an option. Revisit that SMART goal and then figure out what's next and tackle it again. And if you're feeling lost like I did not so long ago, give us a call. We'd love to talk. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Grizelda, for this awesome talk. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much for listening. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and share with a colleague who would benefit. Together, we can transform healthcare one person at a time. Find us anywhere you find your podcasts. Ready to take your healthcare leadership journey to the next level? Book a discovery call free at transforminghealthcarecoaching.com to explore our personalized coaching packages designed specifically for healthcare professionals like you.